It's about time.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Quick Cast episode 13. My name is Jeremy Paul, aka Sleepy Juice, and this is StarCraft 2, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, today we are going to be looking at a ZvP between our hero, Thaco, and our Protoss player, A1. Thaco probably being an homage to old D&D 2-hit system, or it could just be a unique name. I'm not totally sure. Now, we'll be playing this game out on Belshire. Now, we do have the two towers in the middle and this breakable rocks that we don't see much use from since the tower path is actually fairly close to it. But we also have this path down the side that allows us to, with these breakable rocks here, allows us to have this path that's unseen by the watchtower. So it comes to the point where this map, the big thing for this map is that vision. Getting map vision is very important for knowing where the enemy is, knowing where you need to have your army to respawn. Now, for those of you who don't watch QuickCast, or this is your first time and you haven't seen the rest of the episodes, basically what we do is every episode we go through and we pick a topic or a concept to go over for lower league players and new players, so that they can take something from the game and have a further understanding to get involved in the community and improve the game. Now, for today's game, what we're going to be looking at is how to deal with specific mass unit composition. So in sense, we're going to look at things like we're looking for mass stalkers or mass roaches or for mass marines along those lines and how to deal with that. In particular, this game, which is a gold level game, we're going to be looking at how to deal with mass roaches. Now, there was a time back when Stefano was king in Wings of Liberty where Mass Roach was actually a completely viable strat at even the highest level. Kind of to jump back in the game real quick, we do see that we have a Nexus first coming down for the Protoss player and a spawning pool for the Zerg player Thaco. Now, this is something where if that Zerg player gets a scout out and actually can see that there's a Nexus first with no forge coming out and the pylons in the base, and that it looks like there's possibly going to be a gate. There's a gateway coming down, so it's gateway first. There's not going to be any units. If he gets Zerglings out and across the map right now, he can actually win the game at this moment. It's very important to get that scouting in so you know when that moment comes that you can actually punish a player that's being incredibly greedy. This is not a good build order for the Protoss. Now, he's going to get away with it. It's not going to be scouted. We only have the one over. We have the two overlords getting in position, and we'll get those overlords will give us good map vision, but he's not really going to use those to scout inside the main base at this point. But to get back to what we were talking about, we are going to go with how to deal with Mass Roach. Now, there was a time when that was very popular. It did a lot of damage. They're able to max out at the 10 to 13 minute mark and just roll over the Protoss third. But Protoss got better at dealing with it. The problem is that for new players and players that are in the lower leagues that don't know all the information that's out there, it's still hard to deal with. So what do you do when that happens? That's what we're going to be covering today. Now, we do see gas coming down for the Zerg player. He's going to be going for speed or some sort of tech at this point. He has an expansion out. Right now, he's behind in drones. So he's going to since he's not going to be putting on a lot of pressure with those Zerglings, he's going to want to drone out. Now, we do see great map vision here for the Zerg player. The Protoss player is just basically macroing up. He's not doing anything as far as aggression is concerned. He's only making his first Zealot now. Like we were talking about before, he's incredibly open for some sort of attack. It's not going to come. He's going to be fine in this case, and they're going to macro up and go into the mid game. Now, the Mothership Core is coming out. This is a great improvement for Wings of Liberty for the Protoss player. It allows them to be this greedy and get away with it. There was a time where it just was impossible. You couldn't do it. It just was not applicable. But for now, we do see that the Zerg player Thaco is actually going and being very active on the map. We were talking earlier about how map vision on this map is very important. We have all of the side lanes covered by Zerglings. We have the center, both watchtowers covered by Zerglings also, plus we have the surround on the base for the overlords on either side that are covering to have any sort of exit out of that base covered also. Now, it would be nice to have a Zergling up in front of the base, but we do have that overlord there, and it would be nice, as we're in the 6 minute going in 6:30 minute mark here, to actually sack those overlords and get an idea for what's going on, because right now it's important to see this. We have a dark shrine going down, so the Protoss is going to be going for a very tech-oriented build. The Zerg player needs to scout that, and he needs to know what's going on to survive. Otherwise, he's not going to have the layer up in time, and he's not going to have spore crawlers in there to block it. So, and that gives us an idea where we are. Now, we do have 2 Zerglings coming in here. Now, these Zerglings need to see that Dark Shrine. If this game was going to have any chance to go on, that's very important. Now, there is only a few Zealots out and a Mothership Core, so he has a chance to skirt by here. If he can get by here and get into the main, the Dark Shrine is not hidden. It's just right in there. He should be able to see it right when he gets up. Now, we do have the Zerglings coming up here. The Zealots are able to get one. He comes out, and there he goes. He sees the Dark Shrine. Now, the question is whether he clicked on it in all that time. It did look like he was microing there, so it's possible he did. He is going to come back around and get close to seeing it again. Now, he instantly puts down spine crawlers. That doesn't tell me that he's actually seen it. It does say that, hey, I've seen you have gateways, and they're not going for a forge, so that's entirely possible. But I'm not seeing any response to the Dark Shrine. Now, he is going up the layer, which is important because that allows him to get Overseers, and Overseers obviously can see cloaked units, and that's what we're going for. But still, look at this vision. He still has these Overlords on the outside that he can sack in at any moment and get better vision of that main base, but it doesn't look like he's going to do that. He's just going to go with the information he has. He is missing one of the Watchtowers there, which he'll have to split those Zerglings up. He has 2 on the other. And it looks like our Protoss player, A1, actually feels that the Dark Shrine was scouted out. So he's not making Dark Templar. What he's doing is he's actually merging them directly into Archons, just for the pure fact that Archons are very beefy units with a lot of damage. They do bonus damage to bio units, and so basically every Zerg unit takes bonus damage from the Archons. Now, we do have, he's put this other Ling on the 2nd Watchtower, and he's able to see the Archons and the Zealots of the Mothership coming towards his 3rd. So we'll see how long it takes him to react to that. Now, for Zerg dealing with this, it's hard. All those units are really good against Zerglings, so he's going to end up wanting Roaches. So right now, he does have the spines and spores coming down, and he has Zerglings out in Queens. So we're going to see how well he does against this. He only has a couple Roaches out. Now, it does look like he's going to end up being able to put more Roaches in production, but will he lose the 3rd base before then is the question. So we have here now, the good news is they're chasing those Roaches up there. That's delaying the attack. Now, the bad news is he's going to pull all of these drones right through the Archons and the Zealots, and he's down 12 of them. 13 now. That's an unfortunate pull there, right through the mass splash damage of the Archons there. Now, we do have Roaches popping out here, which is bad, but they're actually walking straight around, so he's target firing the hatchery, and we'll see how these other Roaches go if they're going to get out of there. Now, that's actually not that bad, because the hatcheries can be rebuilt. It's only 300 minerals, but if we losing all those units in the process, that would have been awful, because those Roaches are the only thing that are going to save him right now. Every single one of them got out of here, and let's see if he has Roaches in these eggs here. Oh, and he cancels. Great cancel there, saving that Roach and the money for it. Perfect. Incredibly good job on that. Now, he is coming up here to the natural, where we have a great SimCity. We have both Evo chambers producing upgrades for the Roaches, which is great, and he has 2 Queens plus all the Roaches and Lings behind that wall. So that's going to be a good, nice, solid point for him. He's going to be able to stick there and be safe for the time being and hold off this attack. He still has great vision of the base, but now you can see that mid-vision is gone. Also, he can't see the 3rd base that's coming down for the Protoss. He's going to have to get a unit over there to check it out. Now, so in this point, the Zerg player has been reduced to below or right around the same amount of workers as the Protoss player. He's down to 2 bases. He's having to re-expand to his 3rd. Not a great situation. It's not the situation we want to be in a Zerg player. It does look like this Overlord's going to end up getting picked off, or at least penned between the bases so that it can't get out. Let's see if he gets him. Yep, perfect, excellent. Supply blocking there. Now, that Overlord should have gone in to actually scout that main before, so it would have died anyways, but instead it died without any scouting information whatsoever. It should have just stayed back at home in that case. Now, we do have the 3rd coming down finally. We have the natural producing a good saturation there, and we have the Roach split. Now, you do see a little bit of touch here. He does know about the Archons, knows that it's possible that the Dark Shrine's out. He has the Overseer with the army. That's amazing. That allows that army to be safe against Dark Templar, because Dark Templar on their own aren't really that scary when they're seen. They just have not enough life to make up for that massive DPS they do. But when they're unseen and cloaked, that's when they're able to do a lot of damage. Now, here we go. We have 2 armies passing in the night, unable to see each other at this point. We'll go ahead and put the Protoss army, we'll put it up on the right side of the map at this point, and we'll go with the Zerg army here and see what's going to go down, because the Zerg army looks like it's going to hit first. We have the Zerg army coming into the 3rd base here, and it's going to be able to take this down without any problems whatsoever. So the Protoss player at this point is going into the Zerg 3rd, and it just looks like a basic base trade situation here. The Zerg is unfortunately going to crush that third base, kill all the probes off as they're making their way back. The Protoss, on the other hand, has killed that third base, and it looks like he's just going to hang out there for a little bit. We'll see if he comes back home or goes in the natural. Meanwhile, the Zerg player's going into the natural here. We have a bunch of Stargates coming in, which is not the best response to Mass Roach, but that's okay. And the natural is going to go down. It does look like the Protoss army is working its way back and actually picking off a hidden expansion from that Zerg player that got put down right before that. The Mothership Core has not used... There it goes. It finally uses its overcharge. It didn't do it on the natural at all. And all these probes here are going to try to get out of there. Now, the Roaches are going to take down this Dark Shrine, but he has some Dark DTs coming in already. So the question is, can that Nexus take down the Overseer? And it looks like it can. So now those DTs will have free reign with no detection there at all. Now, what would be the correct response, though, after all these Nexus have died and to deal with this Mass Roach? Now, Archon Zealot's not that good, and right now this is a horrible engagement for the Protoss. He's getting funneled up that ramp, and we have a great concave at the top by those Roaches. Finally, he's able to pull back. The Roaches are going to come down through, and there's going to be a good amount of damage here going down on these Roaches since they can't micro away. It is a good sandwich there and a flank by those Roaches, so they're going to do a lot of damage, but they're going to pull back. Now, we can see the Protoss player took a lot of damage in that engagement, and I think where he went wrong in that, besides the odd base trade scenario, what would have caused that to go better for newer players and players in lower leagues is instead of going for 4 Stargates at that point in time, go for Immortals and Sentries. Now, Stargates are great, but as you saw, we had air units there with the Mothership Core, and even if you go with Void Rays that do extra damage against Roaches, there's just so many of them that they're going to end up ripping through any Zealots you have on the ground and ripping through the Nexus before you can actually kill them all off. They're basically going to trade that for your economy. The better thing to do is to use force fields. Force fields are amazing against Roaches, and Immortals can survive forever if they're force filled properly. Now, we do have 2 Overseers with this army as it's going in for the engagement here. Like we were talking about before, the Roaches are just going to eat up all of those Zealots and the Archons, and there's just nothing that can be done. That game was already over after the economy was already crushed. The base trade scenario is actually what hurt the Protoss there, but losing all that mineral and gas to those 4 Stargates without getting any sort of profit from it is where the fault lies. It could have been better if he had better vision. If he had the Mothership Core with him, he could have recalled back to the natural and protected it, but he still wouldn't have mattered. He still would have got ran over by that Mass Roach style because they're just going to eat the Zealots alive, and then the Archons without any support just aren't enough. So for newer players, when you end up in that situation, practice your force field. What you want is you want Sentries and you want Immortals. Get 3 Immortals and 8 Sentries. That's a good place to start. You can fine-tune it to your play style as you go through. And that right there will keep any 200 Roach army at bay. You just need to hit your force fields and be prepared to deal with it. Now, for the time being, I would love to see some low-level play where people are actually using that, going for the Sentry Immortal build, even if it's a macro and not that full all-in, just that composition to deal with those Mass Roaches. Go ahead and email to me. The email's down in the description. Also, please feel free to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And please like and subscribe to this video because that's how I know to do more, and I love hearing feedback, so comment on the YouTube video also. Now, until we talk again next time, please go out, play games, and have fun.